Good evening, children. Welcome to online class, 9th standard, first language English. Supplementary lesson 2, earthquake. The earthquake, this lesson is written by M.S. Mahadevan. He has given this lesson in the first person narration only. First, before beginning, we will know what is an earthquake. The earthquake is the result of sudden release of stored energy in the Earth's crust that creates seismic waves. They are caused when rock underground suddenly breaks along a fault. The sudden release of energy causes the seismic waves that make the ground shake. So that is earthquake. And this story is about a boy, Bridge. His name is Bridge, 17 years old. He tells his story to a traveler that his village had faced a terrible earthquake which lasted less than 5 minutes and destroyed 602 villages out of 670 villages in that area. Now the lesson starts. He's talking with a traveler. Bridge is talking with a traveler. Are you a stranger to these parts, waiting for the bus to Badrinath? Perhaps you are a pilgrim or a visitor to the Valley of Flowers. And this is Badrinath. This is the temple Badrinath, and he is a Badrinath god, deity, Badrinath deity. Anyway, whoever you are, come with me. Wait at my tea shop. It is just past the bend in the road. He's telling about his whereabouts the tea shop place. As you can see, I am carrying this can of milk to the shop. In 10 minutes, I will have fire going. While you warm yourself, I'll prepare for you the best cup of tea in all Gairwal, and it will chase away the pitched blue look from your face. You know that there is a Gairwal? I'll show you Gairwal. Yeah. Say Pori Gairwal. This is the place. See how beautiful it is. Serene, natural. Pori Gairwal. We are. Welcome to my humble roadside tea shop. Make yourself comfortable on this wooden bench. It looks rickety, but it will hold your weight. That is, he started this shop, that is Garwal. What he's telling, by the grace of Badri Vishal, is providing a decent enough livelihood. So what he's telling to wait till he makes a tea. So and relax. Then to he tells the visitor traveler to sit on that wooden bench. It is rickety, that is, but it will hold its weight. And he is asking my name, Sahib. I am called Bridge. I am 17 years old. I started this tea shop 2 years ago. So what is the age of the tea shop is 2 years, and how old he is 17. And and he's giving the list of the gist of his shop, his life, why he started everything. Before that, I worked in a roadside dhaba outside Panipat. Before he was working in a dhaba, that is outside Panipat, the heat, the crowd, the pollution. So everything, it was all too much, so I couldn't bear. I had saved most of my earning. Earnings, he took all his earnings and came under to this place and started a tea shop. I came back and with a little help, I started this shop. By the grace of Badri Vishal, I showed Badri Vishal God. It provides me a decent enough livelihood. Here, your tea is ready strong, sweet, flavored with the cardamom. That is Vital Yelaki masala tea. That's one. Enjoy it, Sahib, while I get on with my course. This is my daily routine. At sunset, I'll shut my shop and walk back the 3 miles to my dwelling on the hillside. So what happened? When the sun sets, he will also close the shop and walks, that is 3 miles away from that shop. That is his dwelling place. His house is there on the hillside. And you might have asked, what is the name of the village? The name of my village? It was my village, the village of my ancestors. It is no more. Multi is gone. What is telling? His village is no more. That is, the village is not at present, it is not there. What happened to my village? How can you tell? Then the village is no more. What happened to my village? He's telling, explaining. Now it starts. That is the story of an earthquake. It starts now only. Because he starts telling to everybody about the story of his life, his village. Now why the village is no more. He starts telling them. It was 4 years ago in the month of October. One night, the earth quaked. Yes, tremors are common in these parts, and these snows may seem eternal. The Himalayas may look solid, but the truth is deep down they are unstable. We who live here are accustomed to tremors. So what is telling? That is 4 years ago in the month of October, one night earth quaked. Tremors are common, that is in that Himalaya, because Himalaya, though Himalaya looks very solid, but down to that place, it is unstable. But they are used to these tremors common. But what happened that night was more than that. It was a terrible earthquake. Its effects were felt as far away as Delhi and Lucknow. So one night there was a terrible earthquake. What happened? It felt that earthquake was felt, the tremors were felt, that is till where? Till Delhi and also Lucknow. Can you imagine the devastation at the heart of the earthquake? The epicenter was in a valley not far from here. There were 670 villages in the valley. 602 were destroyed. The earthquake lasted less than 5 minutes, time enough to set these centuries old mountains crashing, to reduce our villages to rubble, to snuff out hundreds of lives. So what happened? The epicenter was in the valley, that is, it was there only. And how many villages totally? 670 villages. After that, how many villages are destroyed? 602 villages are destroyed. And the earthquake, how much time it lasted? It lasted less than 5 minutes only. But even then, that time was enough. That is centuries old mountains crashing, and our villages were reduced to rubble, and so many. It took hundreds of lives. Then it was a sheer chance that I was away. That night, I had gone to Pori to buy my school books. I stayed the night at my uncle's house. We felt the tremors. We ran out into the open. Again and again, the tremors came. We spent the entire night outside. Pori lived through the night. Murthy did not. So it is where was he when the tremors then there in Molti? It was he was away. That is from Molti. That he was in Pori. That is his uncle's place. Why he went there? He went to buy school books. School books. He went there to Pori to uncle's house, and but that time they felt the tremors. Then all of them came out of their houses and stayed in the open only. But again and again they had the tremors, and they spent the entire night outside only. And Pori, that is, they escaped from the tremor, but Molti did not. That means it was devastated. Now, for the living, the nightmare began at daybreak when the news trickled in of the large-scale devastation. There are dozens of landslides, huge boulders thrown haphazardly across motorable tracks and the roads. Precious time was spent in blasting the rocks and clearing the way for army rescue teams. It was all of 4 days before help arrived for Molti. So what happened? What they were doing? Because nightmare. What was nightmare? When the daybreak came, they all came to know what is that news. What was the news? That is, there was a large-scale devastation. So a lot of dozens of landslides, the big boulders, then were all thrown here and there. That is, it is blocked the motorable roads and ways. And so, how they spent? They spent their precious time. That is, in blasting the rocks and clearing the way for whom? For the army rescue teams to come. So it was 4 days before help arrived for Molti. So it took 4 days for army to get in. I was among the first to reach the village. My uncle accompanied me. We feared the worst, but nothing had prepared us for what we saw. Every single every single house, every wall, every roof had been flattened. Stone, rubble, and dust were all that remained. Our house was a two-storied stone building with a slate roof. My great grandfather had built the house, and we were a small family. My father had died after an illness. Just 14 months ago, my mother took care of us, and we were 3 children. I was the oldest. My brother Neelu was 10. Buli, my 2-year-old sister, was the baby of the family. My grandmother lived with us. So Bridge reached the village and nothing was left in the village. Everything was brought to ground level. His house was built by his great grandfather. That is yeah, they were a small family, and his father also had died. That is because of illness. That is 14 months before only. And who was taking care? His mother was taking care of them. That how many? 3 children, and I was the oldest. That Bridge was the oldest, and brother Neelu, he was 10 years old. And Buri, that is a 2-year-old sister. She was the baby of the family, and his grandmother. Then, when the soldiers began to clear the debris, my uncle led me away. I was in a complete daze, too numb to feel anything. The soldiers had set up a makeshift camp. Someone gave me tea and biscuits. I don't know how long I was there. Suddenly it was evening, and uncle was standing beside me. They have taken the bodies to the river bank. He said gently, "Come, you must perform the last rites before sunset. Tomorrow we will go back to Pori." So what happened when the bodies began to, so when the bodies are cleared by the soldiers and from the debris and everything, and his uncle took him away because small boy, no, and then because dead bodies, everything won't be able to bear that sight. The soldiers had set up a makeshift camp, and someone gave him tea and biscuits. In the evening, his uncle called him to perform the last rites, that is near the river bank, and to the dead bodies before the sunset. So that he told that the next day they would go to Pori. I had last seen my family while leaving for Pori. They stood at the doorway and waved. Ma, Daddy, Neelu, and Bully. That is the and Didi. That is the way I will always remember them smiling and waving at me, not as the white shrouded lifeless figures I saw. Bully, she was not there. So what happened? When he left for Puri, he saw them, that is standing, waving, standing at the door waving to him. And he didn't want to remember now because they are no more now. So he didn't want to remember them as dead bodies, but he wanted to remember them, that is smiling and waving at him only. So they have not found her, that is he remembered his sister Julie, and they have not found her. My uncle said, the wild animals, Bridge, don't look like that. She's dead. But we must find her, I shouted. Bridge, get a grip on yourself, Uncle pleaded. But what happened? His uncle said that his sister was not found. So he suspected that wild animals would have taken her, but Bridge got wild. But he was very much after to find her because her dead body was not found. But I was beyond reasoning. I ran back to the village, to the spot where my house had stood. There was still so much debris. I scrambled around, shifting the earth and stones. How long I was on my knees searching, crying, searching. So Bridge, he didn't believe, he wanted to find his sister's dead body at least. So he ran back to the village and stood in front of his house only. And Bridge was crying for his sister, believing that he would find her. He started scratching the ground. Boy, it is no use, the voice said. I looked up. The speaker was the army officer who had supervised the relief operation. And there is no one alive in there, he said. Whom are you looking for? So the army officer was standing nearby and he was very much tired. Then he asked, what are you looking? Then no one is also alive. So he asked for whom he was searching. And he said, my sister Sahib. I said, fighting to control my tears, all I want is to give her a proper cremation. So Bridge said that he was looking for his sister to give a proper cremation. I stopped conscious that I was babbling. I could see that he was bone tired. He looked as if he had not slept for days, and his uniform was covered with the dust. His face was grimy, but through all the dust and grim, I saw that his eyes were kind. But the army officer was looking very much tired, but even then, he was very kind. My men have been on their feet for days, he said softly, as if talking to himself. They have done all they could here. Tomorrow at daybreak, we go to another village just like this. Then another. He looked away at the sun setting behind the peaks. Down in the valley, the pyres burnt, row upon row. The officer muttered something, shook his head, and turned away. A terrible despair engulfed me. I lay there among the ruins of my house and cried. What an The officer said his men had been on their feet for many days. So they had finished their work there and they are leaving to another village. So like that they'll be going village after village. And then the sun was setting behind the peaks. So he left the place. So Bridge felt lonely and then he lay among the ruins of his house and he started crying for his sister. 10 minutes later, the officer was back. With him were three soldiers armed with spades and crowbars. Without a word, the men began removing the debris. They labored doggedly. When it was completely dark, someone brought a few little Petromax lamps. 2 hours later, a soldier called out, Sahib. Sir, after 10 minutes, the officer came back with the three soldiers armed with spades and crowbars, and they started removing the debris. And completely it became dark, and they used Petromax lamps and were working. 2 hours later, a soldier called out Sahib. He stood in the middle of a small hollow, and the wall had caved in at that spot. I recognized a part of a door, and beneath it a small foot. Feverishly, the soldier began to clear the hollow. Then they lifted the door. So what happened? He stood in the middle of the small hollow because they had to find out his sister. The wall had caved in. The Bridge could see a part of a door. So beneath it, a small foot they could see. Feverishly, and they began to clear the hollow and they lifted the door. Then someone cried, She's alive. And it was a miracle. She had been buried under the debris for 116 hours. And she had surveyed the earthquake, the cold nights, and the wild animals. A ragged cheer went up as the soldier wrapped her in a warm blanket and carried her to the tent where a makeshift hospital had been set up. Bully lived. Oh, the next day, I went to thank the army officer, but he was gone. I did not even know his name. So really, it was a miracle. She remained under the debris for 116 hours, and she had survived the earthquake, cold nights, and wild animals. A soldier wrapped her in a warm blanket and carried her to the tent, where a makeshift hospital had been set up, and Bully lived. The next day, Bridge went to thank the officer, but he was not there, and moreover, he didn't know his name also. Then my sister and I went to live with my uncle. Soon after, I got a job at a dhaba near Panipat. Bully stayed back. She started going to school, and it waited on me that I never thanked that army officer. I hoped that one day I would run into him again. Every time I saw an army man, I would hope it was him. For months, I would search for his face in every crowd, and one day I did find him. That his sister and Bridge lived with his uncle. Soon after, he got a job at the dhaba near Panipat, and Bully stayed back and started going to school. And Bridge was also looking for that army officer to thank him, but every time he saw an army man, he hoped that it was he only. One day he found him. It was late on a winter's night. A truck stopped at the dhaba. A man got out. He looked familiar. When he stopped into the light, I saw that it was not him, just someone who bore a strong resemblance. The man was tired. He asked for a cup of tea. As I served him, Sahib, I felt this strange lightness, this sense of joy. When the man offered to pay, I did not take the money. The next day it happened again. Every day I would see someone, a complete stranger, a tired traveler who reminded me of that officer. It was as if he was everywhere, and every time I saw him tea, I felt a surge of sheer joy. That is, he was looking for that army officer. So one day it was late, winter's night. Uh, it was later on a winter's night. So a truck stopped at the dhaba. So a man was looking familiar, but he was not that officer, but he was resembling him. So he asked for a cup of tea. He was also looking very tired. And after taking a cup of tea, he tried to give the money, but he offered money, but he did not accept the money he offered. So the next day also happened the same. So every time, no, the traveler used to come every time. That is, whenever he used to see a traveler, he used to remember the face of that army officer only. But he felt very happy to serve that people, serve tea to them. And a month later, I quit my job at the Dhaba and returned to those mountains. The Dhaba owner was quite relieved because he had no use for a waiter who kept forgetting to present the bill to the customer. Now I am on my own and I am at peace. 1 month later, what he did, he left the job at the Dhaba and came back to the mountains. That is his original place. And Dhaba owner was also relieved because Bridge, he never took money. That is from a traveler. That is, I was looking like that army officer. So that is, he forgot to present the bill to the customer. Now he is his own because he's got his own shop. He can do anything what he likes, isn't it? So he is happy. Now here is your bus, Sahib. No, no money. You were tired. All I offered you was a cup of tea only. Maybe it was the best tea in all Gerwal, and maybe not, but I am happy I could do you this small service. Wish you a safe journey, Sahib. May God be with you. So now the bus came. So Bridge was talking to the teller and he told that story of his village and himself. Now the bus came, then he bid goodbye to the stranger or traveler with whom he was telling his story. And he offered him a cup of tea and he refused to take the money and wished him that is a safe journey. This is a story, children. It's very interesting. See, that is a, he wants to show his thankfulness to the army by serving the strangers a cup of tea. Thank you, children. Bye.